One.
Welcome back. Thank you for joining us here at All Sports Tucson from our houses. This is a different way of doing things, but we're going to try our best to continue to do these shows. Unfortunately, we're not at WAB right now, but maybe soon we'll be there again. But this is a safe and social distance way of doing things. And so far, the two shows worked out great. And right now, we're going to talk a little bit about spring sports and specifically Arizona softball, because spring sport athletes just got their extra year of eligibility granted through the NCAA. But the catch is that the university has to supply all the needs. That means the financial aspect of it. And when you look around the country, we already heard Wisconsin, they have denied that extra year for their spring sport athletes, stating that they just don't have the funding to do so. U of A, I know they are working diligently right now to try to make that happen. But I want to hear your guys' thoughts on that extra year of eligibility.
Go ahead, Andy.
Yeah, I was just going through that press release from Wisconsin again. It was very odd. Obviously, Barry Alvarez, he was the football coach, now he's the AD. Basically throwing the spring athletes under the bus. Mm-hmm. Athletes in their fourth year have concluded their careers with us. So, I mean, I'm pretty sure he probably didn't coach. He may have coached that way. I don't know, but that's not how you – that's like a boss who's detached from his employees' talks. It's a very oddly worded press release from his school, and actually he attacks the NCAA for even bringing it up. It's a weird situation. I understand a lot of college seniors have internships already lined up in master's programs and jobs. Mm-hmm. But still, I believe there was only 25 at his school. And that's not a very big number. I mean, and it also wasn't just softball. I mean, they have rowing and volleyball and beach volleyball. I mean, they had tons of sports. So it seemed like it was spread out from a lot of sports. So I have a hard time believing that was a situation that he just came up with. It looks like he's been against this from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think it. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say the Ivy League too. The whole Ivy League is not going to bring back the athletes, the spring sport athletes next year that are seniors. They made that determination, I guess. And I'm reading some stories. Like there might be some other universities that might join Wisconsin, because, like you said, Troy, it's a financial thing. But yeah, I mean, we're talking about seniors who are not going to have that experience again, and it was taken away, obviously for a world crisis. But they should have that ability to play a full season, or more than just like a month of the season.
Or the NCAA said that you can offer the same amount of financial aid or lower.
Right.
They can tell these kids, you can come back for a fifth year, but you're on your own. You're a walk-on. How many would still play? Probably a couple. Or we'll just give you money to eat.
Mm-hmm.
But to just say no is really strange. Now, the Ivy League's different because you're supposed to be graduated in 4 years there.
Right.
It's a totally different. It's an academic situation, and that's a different level. And in schools like U of A and ASU, who are by no means rolling in money, are trying to work it out, then that should tell some of these big schools like the Big Ten schools who draw 100,000 and 80,000 per football game. Uh-huh. And if there's no college football this year, that's going to be a disaster for all college sports, because we all know that's the moneymaker for all the sports.
Mm-hmm. If that happens, I think you see a lot of universities cutting sports, because, like you said, NCAA football is the moneymaker. Even here in Tucson, yes, the basketball program is the number one thing in Tucson, but football still makes the most money.
Yeah, even if you only have 40,000, you figure each family is probably spending $300 to $500, food and tickets. I mean, it's still a big moneymaker.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, another thing, there is some of the stories I've read that there's some athletes who are looking to see if the NCAA can allow third-party help with sponsorship, like you said, food and some of the necessities, housing, just to help out, see if that could be a help to them. I know there's like a union of college athletes that they have that have gone to the NCAA with that. I'm not sure what's going to come of that.
Yeah.
But again, it has to be a thing where the universities try their hardest to make it happen. It seems like Wisconsin's just like, nope, we're not going to, this is impossible. We're not going to even see if it's feasible.
Yeah.
And I
But,
think,
bringing it back to U of A, Condrea's had big teams before, big roster numbers.
right.
And then he went down. He went down, and that hurt him those couple years. Remember where he had players hurt? So him and Larry Ray had to go look through the rosters of the other team sports to bring people in to fill in for a couple of players who got hurt because he was only down to 12 athletes. So he's going to be back, and he's back up there again. Nowhere near the ASU numbers of what's that coach who left?
The guy that went to Auburn.
He had like 50 and like 20.
They got in trouble.
20 of them couldn't practice, and they had to sit in the stands.
There a lot of walk-ons.
Yeah.
Well, Oklahoma, I was talking to another sports writer. They were saying that they traditionally have 30 to 35 people on their roster, and only, maybe 20 dress out, and it's all just a bunch of practice players that may never see the field.
Yeah, it's good for practice. Well, go ahead. So to U of A, what's on the horizon there?
So with U of A, Jesse Harper and Alyssa Palomino Cardoza, they are definitely coming back. You're looking at a group of 7 seniors. And it's not like, years past where you have a couple of seniors where, they were on the bench and the contributor in the dugout. All 7 of the seniors made a significant impact on the field. So Arizona, they're trying their hardest to get them all that extra year. A couple of them are in question just because, like you said, they have career paths to look after. One of them has a not job opportunity, but graduate opportunity at NAU to get in the medical field. So we'll see how that plays out. But, you can always, I'm sure if she reapplied, she would get it again. And it really depends on how much you love college softball.
Is Alyssa Denham and Martinez, are they coming back? Malia Martinez?
Well, Malia Martinez is the one that has that medical.
In NAU.
Yeah,
Oh,
at NAU.
She doesn't get a 5th year anyway, right? Was she the one to get a red shirt anyway? Medical.
Well, no, you're thinking of Alyssa Palomino had the medical red shirt her freshman year. She tore her ACL.
Okay.
So she will be playing her 6th season at Arizona next year.
Yeah.
So they're teasing her, calling her the grandma of the group.
They were doing that last year, weren't they?
Yeah. But now with the 6th year, grandma season is on its way. And then, Jessie Harper, she sits at 76 home runs for her career, tied with Arizona legend Jenny Dalton. And she's only, what is the NCAA record? 90, off the top of my head, I want to say 96, 97.
95.
So she's about 95.
Yeah.
Okay. So she's about 19 home runs away from tying the record. And if she plays next year, she's going to crush that record.
Well, yeah, because she'll have people batting behind her on this team. They can't pitch around her.
Yeah, they can't pitch around her. And you like you said, you look at the Tucson kids coming in and that recruiting class coming in, you're just going to have a wealth of talent. And that brings me to my next point. I think you're going to see a lot of transfers, not only at the U of A, but across the country because of the extra year.
Yeah, especially schools who have a top recruiting class. But what's a heck of a DH lineup on the bench there if Condrea chooses to go that way.
Yeah. And then for cases like Wisconsin, the players that aren't getting an extra year of eligibility, I think you're going to see a lot of teams go after those players and try to get them in for a transfer. Yeah. So you look at a team like ASU, what's the one thing they've been missing for the past 2 years? That's pitching. So if you see a team like Wisconsin or another Big Ten team or whoever it is, and they're not giving that athlete an extra year, well, we're going to go out and get that top arm, and then all of a sudden ASU is the top 5 team.
Yeah.
What about What about Deja Mullapola? What's her status? Is she going to be going to the Olympic team? It sounds like she's not made up her mind yet.
She will be back in the Olympics next season. I think the only question is right now is, will she play at Arizona after the Olympics? Because you're talking about a 2-year gap from not playing with your team. But just seeing Deja's personality and being around, the team so these past 2.5 years, I would think she's coming back because of how much she loves softball. She's also getting her not medical degree. I think it is forensic science degree. If I am correct, I know it has something to do with that. So while she's getting her degree, you're going to make a lot more money in your degree than you will in fast pitch softball.
Yeah. Yes. Even if she decides to stay on Team USA throughout the whole summer and the fall next year, there's not much money. It's not like men's soccer. They're not making $1 million.
And with Deja, Rachel Garcia, Bubble Nichols, they're not making the salary that other people are because they're still college athletes. They're probably getting meals, flights, so they're not making a paycheck off of this.
Yeah.
It's just experience at that point.
Do they have to try out again?
No, I don't think so. I think they're going to keep the roster. They may critique, the back end of their pitching staff. But they're talking about restarting the tour where they left off.
Yeah. Maybe not for softball, but I've heard like track athletes, this is it. They've trained their body. They train their bodies for this. Yeah. And once they miss that window, especially the athletes who are 30, it's gone. But
what's the guy's name that played at the U of A and made the Olympics at, how old was he? 41?
Yeah.
So, I mean, for him, is it really realistic to make it again? I don't know.
Well, it's only next year, right? It's only one more year.
Yeah, but they've trained their body. Track and field athletes are well, you've talked to them. It's all, when we were in high school, you ran every day if the coach told you to. But now it's like they build up to a plateau and they train their bodies for. It's just a different. They're top athletes, so it's hard to train for that and then fall back. And plus, they get paid to go on the national tour. There's professional track, so.
So what
about coaching? Are all the coaches going to come with any coaching changes at U of A?
No, the only level of coaching changes that Arizona might see, at least on softball, I'm not sure about baseball, is the graduate and undergraduate assistant roles. Mo Mercado is a graduate assistant right now, so she'll probably stay there for next season. But you look at Riley Pierce, where this was her first season as a undergraduate assistant. She's going to, get her degree still. And then all of a sudden, I don't know if you can carry 2 graduate assistants. I don't know if there's a limit on that. So it might have hurt her, coaching development because she has a coach's mind. What do you guys see across the country? What do you expect for some spring sports maybe that I'm not familiar? Like, how is it going to impact them, volleyball or, some of the spring sport athletes?
Well, in the area of volleyball, they pick up a lot of that 5th year transfer thing, that new rule where you can play the 5th year at a different school. So I think they're used to that already. Like, if you played volleyball U of A for 4 years, let's say, you can play your 5th year indoor at Cal. So I think volleyball is used to that. Baseball with the draft, that's going to be what do these high school seniors do? I think there's 10 in Arizona that are slated to be drafted. Well, not if it only goes 5 rounds. Now you're just going to get the cream of the crop. You're not going to get the the 400th pick, but they're going to go to college. So that's going to be, I think a lot of coaches are counting on some of those picks not to come. So that's the planning for college baseball. And Javier, I think Javier wrote a couple of stories on this when he worked for the Star. That's college baseball coaches have a very difficult. Didn't you write a story once, Javier, about the baseball draft where it gets crazy? Like some of the owners start drafting like cartoon characters and.
Oh, by the end of the draft, yeah, it's just like throw-in guys. But yeah,
So it's
and
like
if it,
fantasy.
But Kendall thought he would have like this great class coming in, and they all got drafted.
yeah,
So
that happens a lot.
Yeah,
That happens a
I
lot.
think that happened to Jay Johnson last year or the year before. He had 2 5-star pitchers that were supposed to go to Arizona, and then they went in the first round in the MLB draft, and your recruiting class is gone.
Yeah, I mean, Kendall was supposed to sign Greg Maddux. He committed to Arizona. Roy Halladay, the guy that went to the Blue Jays, passed away. Phillies. It happens a lot. If it's only going to be 5 rounds, it's going to put a lot of stress on some of these young guys to decide to go pro or instead of just coming back if they're able to.
I think we're going to see is a lot of high school kids are going to go to college.
Yeah,
which could cause and if a lot of the senior base players stay, you're going to have a huge backlog. The U of A might have a JV team again. It's going to be it could be a lot of guys out there.
Which, I know back in the 80s, 90s, 70s, college baseball, the talent level was pretty impressive. And now you look in college baseball and it's not quite as deep, I think, because of the MLB draft. But when you only have 5 rounds, it could deepen, the talent level.
Yeah.
Across the country.
Plus, yeah, you're not going to see the $800,000, $900,000 bonuses this year because the player association don't want it. They want they're trying to work out playing in Phoenix. They want to play. They want their money, and this is a very bad year for high school seniors who are unless you're the top 5, top 10, it's going to be a very difficult situation.
Now, Andy, you've seen a lot of Carly Scoopin, some of Allie Skaggs, and Denny played this season in years past. How capable are they of going right into Arizona's lineup and making an immediate impact?
Allie Skaggs, she looks like she's 6'4", but I think she's close. I don't know. She's solid. She can hit. She's well spoken. She can pitch in a crunch. I mean, if Candrea needs a pitcher, she's everything. And I think she could have played. She could have DH'd last year. But that first base glove and her size, she's a stereotypical Mike Andrea softball player. She's not tall and skinny. She's tall and solid, and great bat. I mean, she could have played last year. I think I mentioned that, but definitely that's what I'm saying. He has to have a spot for her next year, or if she redshirts, she'll be even stronger. So you just never know how he's going to play that. I didn't really get to see too much of the other players, but you're not Gatorade Player of the Year for nothing. And then I think there's a couple of sisters from Phoenix coming down. And I had no idea this was a top-rated class until I looked up some of these names and I saw, top-rated class. So it's like I don't envy Coach Candrea. What are you going to do? I guess it's like basketball. You bring in 5 one-and-dones, and then you have to do it again. But he's going to have the problem of having all these great players stay.
And you look at that pitching staff potentially next season. If Alyssa Denham comes back, Mariah Lopez, you have Denny, who I believe is rated in the top 20. And then you have this other girl, I can't remember her name, but she's in the top 15 in terms of pitching. And she's supposed to be one of the best young arms out there. And that pitching staff's going to be nasty.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I know we need to cut off right now, but what was I going to say? And then the recruiting class next year.
Yeah.
And then the one after that. So
it's a cycle.
It's going to snowball. So anyway, okay, Troy, go ahead.
Okay, thank you for joining us. We went a little long here on this one, but we appreciate you tuning in. And until next time, have a good night.